Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the last episode, we knocked out this notch, got it all welded up, got the bottom side welded down here, all the way wrapped around the frame. I need to weld the bottom side here and here. Already did, and this down here. So we gotta do these 3 welds on both notches. And then we need to go ahead and make a cover for this. And then we can weld it along the seams all the way around. Once we get this notch knocked out, we can go ahead and start working on that 3-link. This will be the last video. However long it takes to get this job done, that's it. All right, let's go ahead and get back into welding those 3 welds, or we may just go ahead and make that piece and bend it on the press. That way we can go ahead and tack it in, and then we can weld those 3 welds on each side and then go ahead and weld those in. And then the notch will be completely done. Then we can move forward. Notch is completely done, welded underneath, capped off, both sides. I love the way this came out. Plenty of support, inside and out, boxed in. That's overbuilt for sure. So now we can go ahead and move on to setting up the axle where it belongs, and then we can start mocking up for the link bars. The axles did come in from Mosier today, so we can assemble the rear end whenever we choose. I believe I'm gonna wait to assemble everything until I get all mock-up done, and when I weld on the link tabs to the axle, we'll get that welded up, then we'll assemble fully the axle housing, put gear oil in it, put the rear differential cover gasket on it, tighten it all up, add fluid, and then we'll reinstall it. Cleaned up the housing, That way I won't have to do it while it's under the truck. Went ahead and put the bearings, axle bearings and axle seals in. I pre-greased them up. I'll squirt some more oil in there. There's a little bit in there for now. And then I'll go ahead, we'll put the carrier in, torque down the bolts that hold the bearings, carrier bearings and everything down. And then I'll add a little bit of fluid, get a little gear oil in there, and then we'll probably go ahead and put the gasket on and torque it down. Get the axles in and get it all set. That way we can get it under the truck, start mocking it up, get all the link bars in place, tack them in, cycle it, paint it, put the bed on, put the wheels on, put it on the ground, and let's see how good it looks. Aren't those the cutest little things? All right, we'll go ahead and get that sticker off. We've already, as you saw, torqued the bearing caps down to 85 foot-pounds. We'll grab that pin out, then we can slide in our axles. I'm gonna squirt a little more gear oil down the tube for now, just to pre-lube some stuff. I'll also squirt it down in the ring and everything as I spin it. I'll get everything a little pre-lubed. I'm not gonna fill it completely, but we'll go ahead and wipe down that surface mount, or the surface of that housing and the cover with some degreaser. And then we'll torque down the cover after I torque down that pin to its proper torque specs. Got the axles in, and I don't know what happened, but for the first time ever, I had to talk about never having an issue with them. It looks like somehow I got shorted ½ inch on one. So in the morning, it's late, they're obviously closed. I'll go ahead and give them a call and find out how soon we can get the correct size shaft in, and then we can put it in. But for now, I'll go ahead and take them out, and then when we get back on it tomorrow morning, after I call them, we'll go ahead and just set the cover on, cover the ends, and we'll just start mocking it up until they come in. Things happen. Not many people talk about making mistakes. I don't know if it was my mistake. But let's pull it out and double check the axles and see what's wrong. Yep, that's it. They've got it at a 21 5/16. I needed 21 15/16. And I even have it written down in the book correctly. So I don't know if they didn't hear me correctly on the phone, but it looks like I'll be calling them first thing in the morning when they open and getting this new axle ordered, regardless of if it's my fault, their fault. I mean, maybe they didn't hear me. It is what it is. But we'll still continue and not let this stop us, and we'll get back on it tomorrow. Hey, if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications. That way you get notified when this thing, oh no, it should be done in this video. If not, you'll get notified when this one's done, when that one gets done, and other ones that are coming in. Now that the axle's in place, exactly where I want it, centered, it's at the correct wheelbase. That's what you saw me doing, was getting a tape measure, measuring from the center of that wheel back, and then we centered it up. Axle's centered, it's at the height it needs to be, if all my math is correct. The center of that axle, if that's where it needs to be, put the rim about 1 inch below that lip, 1 or 2 inches. If I need to adjust it, we can once the weight's on it. So next, we will figure out, I need to figure out some numbers. It looks like I'm gonna be taking that cross member out. And I'm gonna be making a cross member. Not sure if it's going to be a 2x2 or 2x3 tubing. But that's the type of cross member we're going to make, is out of some of that material over there. I was going to do one on the plasma table, but that's just going to take a lot more time, and I'm a little restricted on time, as in I've got a certain deadline I'm trying to reach for this customer. Started getting some pieces out for mock-up. Got this one all drawn up, figured out, and it doesn't work. This is the one that came with the kit. Always gotta double check some of these things when you buy kits used from anybody or even from the websites. You gotta know what you have. So this one and the other one sit 2 3/4 inches away. Somewhere like that, that's not gonna leave me much room. So what I'm doing is I'm integrating this bracket into this one, something like this. And then I'm gonna extend these up to here and then have this kind of curve down. And that way these brackets, or maybe I'll even make it a little higher and curve over, may not go all the way there, but that way I can idolize and use and delete trying to figure out where I'm gonna weld this or put it up against there. I mean, it's not gonna work with the bolts, and there's really no a way around it. So we'll go ahead and do that, get those made, and then move on to the next step. I already have an idea. I've already said we're gonna cut that cross member out. We'll be using some of that material you see over there. Get this all mocked up, tacked up. Cycle it through the little bit of suspension it's gonna remove, and then we can weld it up. parts, as you saw, cut off on the table. This is one side and this is the other. These are 1/4 inch. Numbers work out good as, I'll show you a piece by itself without holes underneath it from the other one. Perfect. That's what I want. So now I have the brackets and this is correct. I've already checked the piece after the first one, and that's the fitment you want. Nice and tight. No play. Let's go ahead and drop them. These are made out of 1/4 inch. Nice and stout. And then, like I said, this is one side. This is the other. They'll sit the link bars in between there. These came with 2. They wouldn't work the way I'm doing it. And then I have these little spacers that I'll show you. These are gonna go in here like this, lined up with that hole perfectly. And then I'll run a weld on each side. Don't even need that much, but these are just spacers. So when this one and this one sandwich that 1/4 inch, there's no play. As I put it together, you'll see. Getting some good progress and then hit another roadblock. Have everything mocked up. I know these go on the bottom, but they're on the top just to hold some spacing. Well, I was going to put in, these are the upper end links that was sent with this kit. And I can't stress enough, and this is nothing against my customer or any of my customers or anyone else, but if you don't know for sure that a kit that you buy used is gonna work, don't buy it. Talk to me, find out what I recommend. I'll find you the kit that's gonna do a good job and it's gonna keep costs down with labor on me. It'll be unlike this one where I have to keep modifying things, making things work with what you brought me. It's gonna cost you a little bit more because it's a little more time consuming. So for example, besides the notch, besides the tabs not working, now we have this kit was supposed to come with, obviously they're supposed to match. So you can have top and bottom. Well, nope, we're off. So it looks like I need a 1/4 inch spacer on each side. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go on a plasma table. This material's a 1/4 inch. I'm going to measure this little piece on the inside here. And I'm gonna measure the outside of that, and I'm gonna give it a good 1/4 inch all the way around, but it'll be smaller than this, so I'll be able to weld spacers into the bottom section of this, and it should make it perfectly even with this guy. That way, this will be the same size, because you can't have this on the top and bottom be a V or opposite. That's not gonna work. So I'll run inside and we'll get on the computer. It should only take a few seconds to draw that up. Once I measure that size, then we'll draw it up, cut it on the table, and I'll just temporarily just bolt them up. Once we know everything works, then I'll weld the custom washers to the insides. But for now, I'll just set them in for mock-up. Once we get this cross member figured out and all the numbers built and get it tacked into place, that's it. I do need to go and see a fellow fabricator. Y'all can ride along with me. Not currently, but once we get everything mocked up and our numbers for the wishbone. This kit came with a universal wishbone. These are axle ends. It'll go to a single point. I don't have a tube notcher. I don't see the point in buying one for just this one job, but if I have more jobs lined up, then obviously I'm gonna go ahead and probably purchase one. This is the center front link for the top, for the wishbone. We will keep moving on, but like I said, we're going to get this mocked up where it needs cut, get some measurements. I'll probably mark on the floor a triangle on what we need, the width for the link ends on the axle, and then this guy up in the center, and then we'll set our bars and we'll mark it. This piece where this tube will come in, depending on what kind of angle, I might be able to just cut a straight line on each side and then tuck it up instead of a tube bender on that one. We'll see. I may be able to just make this one work with a grinder. But like I said, we'll go ahead, and if I need be, we'll go see a fellow fabricator that's local for some help. I'm not scared to ask for help if I need it. Before I weld this up, I want to show you guys. See, now it's good. When these get tightened down, they'll get tightened to there. They'll get snugged up good. I'm gonna clean up the washers a little bit on both sides. Once they're welded on, we'll ground them nice and smooth. Might be a little burr on there, but that's how it's gonna set up. That fixed that problem. Once I weld this one up, we'll grab the other one off the other side and weld it up. Now that all the spacers are welded on, we can go ahead and let them cool for a bit. Then we can go ahead and start mock-up again. Figure out where this crossmember is gonna go. Once we get these brackets right here set on, we'll get them set and square. Already have the rear diff pinion angle. I have all that set where I want it already. So we can go ahead and tack the brackets on the axle. Once we do that, then we can get the bottom link bars somehow leveled. I'll set them on something. I think I have all my jack stands in use right now. But we'll find something to get the bottom bars leveled, figure out where that's gonna go. We have these brackets. These brackets look like they'll work. These came from the kit. They go on that's a 2-inch box of some sort, but they hang down. So I need to take this, a piece of tubing, and that other end and see what the measurements between the openings are for the bolt holes and see it if it matches those. If it does, then I'll just be able to put a piece of square tubing across there. But we won't know until we start mock-up. Well, continue mock-up. Good. Got those tacked on, nice and square. Next, we're going to do the crossmember. Put a 2x3 tube right into this slot, and it fits. So we're going to go ahead and make this work. I may notch the 2x3 with a slight tunnel. Or a C-notch, whatever you want to call it. It'll make sure there's clearance. It'll hit the drive shaft if it goes up higher or anything, it'll hit that body cross member before it'll hit this cross member. I'll make sure this cross member's higher. let's recap what we've got done so far. I already got these tacked up and squared. Link bars are where they need to be on the level. I've already got the cross member mounts where it's going to be tacked to. Nothing's getting fully welded in right away. Where it's going to get tacked to cleaned up. We've got the cross member notched because it needed to be 2 inches below. Basically where the tabs are going to go up here is where it needed to be. We've already got some strength plates tacked in. They're not going to be fully welded that whole length. It'll be some stitch welds, probably 3, top and bottom, because the centers right there will be welded. We've got the notch already done. Here, let's see those welds. Get out of the shadows. Like I said, we got the cap there. We will put one on all 4 sides. That'll give it some strength. We will mock up and figure out where these tabs go. This will be clamped into place temporarily so I can get my numbers for the wishbone. And before we clamp that into place, or after we clamp it in place and I got my marks and know exactly where it's going back, we'll take this out and weld the mounts to this for the lower link bars. Then we'll figure out the upper. We'll get it tacked in, and then we'll go make the cross member, whether we do it here, cross member, the wishbone, whether we do it here or we go see a local fabricator and use his tube notcher. All right, let's get this cross member knocked out. Hey, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications. Unfortunately, there's gonna be one more video. There's a little bit more work than I wanna put on this video. So we're just gonna finish up this cross member, get it tacked into place or set and clamped into place. And that'll be it for this one. This is where we're at so far. We've got everything all tacked up, ready to be welded. Once we get the cross member, welded, then we'll get it clamped into place. We'll take these link tabs for the lower link bars, and we'll tack them into place. Once we know where we like them, we can take the cross member out, fully weld them up, but it's just gonna be tacked for now. And then we'll tack in the upper tab, then we can start working on the upper wishbone. But that's gonna be it for this one. We're hitting the 45-minute mark, so we're gonna go ahead and close this one out. We're gonna do one more video. We still need to get the other axle in. That one's actually on the way. We already left Mosier. We got to get the axles in, the rear end back together. Once we get the link system mocked up, then I need to shorten the brake lines, bleed the brakes, cut the bed, because I don't think 16 wide's gonna fit. I'm gonna have to cut that out probably 3 or 4 inches. So there's a little bit of work left to do, and it's not gonna fit all on this video. So that's gonna be it, like I said, for this one. Thanks for watching, everyone.